It's 6 o'clock, and I will call this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees to order. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. I'm going to ask the village administrator to do a mayoral appointment, please.
Good evening, sir. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the hiring of the Cooper's Beach lifeguards at a rate of $20.00 per hour, effective July 12, 2024. These lifeguards will supplement the team as seasoned members transition to permanent careers. And their names are Hudson Fox and Ralph Caraballo.
Thank you very much. So may I have a motion, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And we will go to board presentations. The first one will be the award of the RFP for the wireless and site development and management project presented by Richard Fowler. Thank you, Mr. Fowler, for being here. He is a member of the RFP subcommittee, and he's also the second assistant chief of the Southampton Fire Department.
All right, so I'm good.
You're good.
All right. All right, good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. My name is Richard Fowler, and I'm a village resident, as well as a member of the Wireless Communications Site Development and Management RFP Review Committee, and I'm also the second assistant chief of the Southampton Fire Department. About a year ago, the chiefs from all the village emergency departments expressed major concerns about the deficiencies in emergency communications throughout the village during a board presentation. Speaking on behalf of the fire department, we rely entirely on radio communications as well as cell service during an emergency call, both of which are severely lacking within the village of Southampton. We rely on these forms of communications to notify all of our members when there's an emergency call and give and receive crucial information via radio through our Southampton Village Dispatch. We also utilize our cell phones and computers with cellular data in our emergency vehicles to view pertinent call information, including additional information provided by the caller, where the nearest fire hydrants are located, and to see what the fastest and most direct route is to the emergency call. There are many places in the village where there is little to no cellular data and service, and as a result, our computers have delays in receiving information and take long times to refresh. Several months ago, an RFP was prepared by the village to try to address the emergency communication deficiencies, which would also significantly improve the cell service for village residents. The RFP review committee was formed consisting of Anthony Carter, Alex Wallach, Christian Pico, Michelle Brogard, and myself, all of whom have various and relevant knowledge and experience in this topic of wireless and emergency communications. Our committee has worked very diligently to thoroughly review each of the 4 proposals that were submitted, and a weighted scoring rubric was used to evaluate these proposals. After the initial review of the proposals, our committee had several questions. Together, we came up with 14 additional questions that were sent to each vendor before we could agree on a decision. After these additional responses were reviewed, we then asked each vendor for a best and final offer regarding the financial terms. After these responses were received, there was more discussion and more consideration amongst our committee. I'm very happy to report that our review committee unanimously recommends accepting the proposal received from Diamond Communications. Together, we have worked very hard, and we feel that moving forward with this proposal will significantly improve the emergency communications and also the wireless communications throughout the village for all of the residents. I'm looking forward to working with this committee as a steering group to help see this project to completion. Lastly, as an added benefit, this will not cost the village any money, and it will have a positive financial impact by providing a monthly revenue to the village. On behalf of the RFP Review Committee and the Southampton Fire Department, I would like to encourage your board to approve the recommended proposal from our committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Fowler.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Does anyone have any questions from the board? Or Len, did you want to add anything since you were partially involved with this as well?
Well, I thank you, Richard, for your presentation. The RFP was successfully concluded, as you said, with our award. Tonight we'll be voting on it. And I want to thank you and Alex Wallach and Michelle Brogard, Christian Pico, and Anthony Carter for your hard work and excellent hard work and to bring it to a very successful conclusion. The best and final offer resulted in a very, very good deal for the village in terms of upfront capital costs and recurring revenue once the wireless site development is operational. Financial gains aside, the importance of enhancing village communications for first responders and emergency workers is of paramount importance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much,
All right.
Chief Fowler. We appreciate you being here for that presentation. And now we'll move on to the second presentation, and that is from the Southampton Inn. I'm not sure who's going to go first, but I know we've got quite a good group here. We have 2 Roses. 2 Roses is better than 1, I guess. And we've got
Rose
one.
by any other name?
We've got one Bennett, and we've got several.
Thank you.
We have
several there
Dee Dee, okay.
from the God Help Moan family.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if I may, I'll just jump in. I'm John Bennett. I'm here with Dee Dee Gotthold and Terry Mona, the project owners, and of course John and Scott Rose. We're talking about 71 Hill Street. We're here regarding, in effect, an amendment to an April 2021 approval that the board was kind enough to grant for both the resort hotel and workforce housing. John will present just a couple of highlights. The original application contemplated 4 workforce units. We've had some discussions with the village, and we've reworked the site plan to utilize one of the existing buildings on the property. So that number will be 8. We're proposing 8 workforce units, which I think is a great thing. The village, as all the municipalities, are working towards providing this. So I think this is going to be quite a good thing, double what was originally proposed. John's here. Hopefully he won't blush, but I think it's fair to say objectively the architecture has been significantly improved from what was before the board. We've had discussions with the building department. We've had discussions with the fire marshal. We've worked out vehicular flow in a much better way. So I'll just ask John to present. I think it's a far improved plan.
Thank you, John. All right, now the next John.
First I've ever seen him go.
Yeah, me too.
We've been told to hurry. Thank you, John Rose and Scott Rose. So you've seen variations of this, and I'm going to give you a Reader's Digest version. And to start off, something that's really important is, and I know you'll be very happy to hear this, is the bell tower. The clock tower will be removed. And I was told to use this and carry this around with me. So the clock tower is right here in this dotted line right here.
Yeah.
This is building F. And it's important that the 8 units is a product of the number of units. It's 20%. So if the number were to increase or decrease, those numbers would be adjusted. So
Right.
20% goes in the existing building. This building here remains as it is when I say as far as use. Architecturally, we're going to clean them up. When we take down the clock tower, we'll do some decent architecture, perhaps connect them. Quite frankly, we don't know quite yet.
Yeah.
We know square footage wise what we have. We know the parking requirements. So and that's why we're here tonight. The second part of it is you'll see this dotted line here represents the existing building that is going to be removed, obviously.
Where Plaza Cafe is currently.
Correct.
Yeah.
The building will be linear in length here with circulation coming in. And when we spoke with the fire marshal, that was a very important point. Certainly there are things we're going to have to work out, but this is, once again, this is a work session.
Mm-hmm.
A group of buildings here with 20 units. A building here, and you can see it here and here.
Yeah.
And it's connected by a cathedral space swimming pool that's enclosed. So it doesn't look like 2 buildings. It looks like one continuous building.
Mm-hmm.
The plans of it are, at this point, quite frankly, aren't terribly important, but some of the things that this real pickup is, we're now up to 25% of green space on the property, which is a pretty big pickup. I think that's really critical, and we expect to even get more in between here, so perhaps we'll be more than 25%.
Mhm.
Parking will be along here. We will, when we recognize that we may have to coordinate the easement with the adjacent property, exact details pending, of course.
Because that's not where it is now, correct? It's down further.
Currently,
It's down a
right here.
little further,
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Although I will say that the planning board, when they were talking about the theater folks had it closer to the middle, and I stressed to the board, and hopefully Alex is listening, that they should coordinate about
Yes,
coordination.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yes.
But I have heard nothing on that. I asked that the representatives from the theater and or the village reach out to me on that, but I
Mhm.
hadn't heard anything, so if you want to
Okay.
hopefully whisper something
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Thank you.
Ideally, the easement would take into play the traffic flow.
Yeah.
Clearly, as the owner of this building, you wouldn't want the easement to come in here right into the middle of the building. So we felt that over here might make more sense, but yet to be determined. Architecturally, it's important. Perhaps you're familiar with some of our work. The gambrel is a good space. It gives us a fair amount of second-story space and a half-story on the upper level.
Mm-hmm.
And this will share that. So the gambrel space works well for that. It doesn't look too big. It goes, quite frankly, with a lot of the architecture that we've done, but also right across the street, there's plenty of examples of fine gambrel buildings. There's a series of towers which are, quite frankly, stairwells. The code requires stairwells to get up to all levels, so we need them, and I think architecturally adds to it. Materials, we'll get into that, it's a little bit early, but it's going to be a series of natural materials, and the goal is to be a low-maintenance, beautiful building, because this is what you're going to see when you pull in. When you drive into the village, these are the elevations you're going to see. These two here, quite frankly, will be covered by the buildings
Yeah.
E and F on the road.
Yeah.
But the two long ones, if you're coming from the theater or coming from points west, you're going to see them. So this is a really important space, and we recognize that. And that's why we're going in this direction. A sewage treatment plant right here that handles all treatment on the property, which is critical. I could go on, but I don't want to. So I'm going to, perhaps Scott will talk briefly about some square footage, approximately. Everything's approximate right now, but just give you a quick idea, and then that's
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
You've also
thank you.
added a walkway, I believe, that wasn't there before, behind the building. Yes.
Yeah.
And that would go out to where?
Well, quite frankly, it's more of a placeholder at this point.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that
I thought
you
it was a
may wanna
walkway.
Yeah, it is, but it could be anywhere. We wanted it, and it's coming from the movie theater or from this building perhaps, knowing how this gets developed or not. It would be nice to have a pedestrian access going through. If we decide, depending on how these are developed, that this lives here or here or here.
Okay.
At this point, I'm not worried about it. I just wanted to show that a pedestrian, it's gotta be pedestrian friendly.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna hand it over to Scott real quick, just to go over some square footages of some of the buildings.
So the existing building E, which is the west, the southwest building, single story, it will remain as commercial. It's about 2,700 square feet. Building F will be the existing two-story building, which will compose of 4 workforce housing on each floor, which equates to 20% of the 40 hotel units. The main buildings A and B, they will be 40 units. We'll have 20 in each on 2.5 stories with the 20 by 40 indoor pool. Each hotel unit is approximately 600 square feet each. They will have a kitchenette, ADA compliant bathrooms, balconies, all the creature comforts that are needed in a hotel in this town. Ample parking. We
Well,
have
that was a question. How did we do on the parking?
so we have 59 parking spaces, which equates to 1 parking space per hotel unit. We have 2 parking spaces for a total of 3 employees. We needed a minimum of 2 as per the code. Commercial space, 2,700 square feet, worked out to be 15 with the reduction factor, came down to 9. And then 1 parking space per workforce housing, which is 8. So a total of 59. And 5% of those were handicapped as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
fully compliant. We have multiple egress, fire stairs, elevator shafts, entrances. We will have seasonal staff housing in the lower level with egress compliance, of course. It will be to the tune of about 4 rooms because we don't want to have college dormitory style. We want to have them reasonably spaced. But that's being developed as we speak.
That's the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah.
Time's of the essence, so we're gonna cut it off right now and answer any quick questions.
Okay, I'll turn to Trustee Zanati. Any questions?
I was curious about what you did with your workforce housing, and you've retained that. Okay.
Yes.
My only other question is that you have 59 parking spaces?
Yes.
Is there still going to be street parking like there is now?
Yes, we're
We
not
can
touching
have
any
street
of the
parking.
Virgin Way
can.
parking.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's because there is now.
All of our parking is consolidated onto the site.
Okay.
So we don't
Yeah.
need any on-street parking. We also have 2 truck parking spaces. as
Okay.
Right,
per
but
the
I
size
would
of the
like
building.
to maintain on-street parking on Radian Way,
Yes,
yeah.
we weren't touching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we can provide it all on this property.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we
Yes.
meet the on-site parking requirements. But
Sure.
There's no plan to touch anything on Brady.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, good.
And nor could be. I think it's a dedicated.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Well, I'd like to thank you. I'm pleased, and I just want to confirm that it is 8 apartments and 4 for your staff, correct?
So it is 20% for the workforce housing, which equates to 8 workforce.
Okay.
And then it's about 4 rooms for staff housing,
Okay,
which will have about 2 people per room
okay, very
for
good.
seasonal use only for the
Okay.
staff. Correct. That's in the lower level of the
Right,
hotel.
of the main buildings, yeah.
The staff is not digging into the workforce.
I
Correct.
didn't think so, but I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, no.
Thank
Yes.
you.
But it's a good clarification.
Thank you. And has there been any change for the indoor pool?
Any change?
Yes, is it still the same in the
Still the
plan?
same. Yep, 20 by 40.
40 year.
Yep.
Okay,
We're going to have sliding doors on either side, obviously pool fencing, but to allow natural breezes and light to come in and out as well.
okay. Well, thank you very
But
much.
contained in the building, which
Of
is
course,
great, yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
Did anyone else from your team want to speak, or I mean, I think this is a very good presentation. I appreciate, the time and effort that went into this. So, I mean, I think that's fine unless anyone else had any other comments.
Yeah, I guess it would be great if we could get to an actual public hearing on it.
Yeah, no, so let's take this back and we will figure out when we can do that. Dee Dee, did you want to speak? I see Dee Dee's coming to the mic.
I want to ask John.
Oh.
Can you ask them, what is the process now,
You have to
the
go to a public-
roadmap?
You have to go to a public hearing.
Can we, and how many do we go to the ZBA, then we go to the ARB?
Can
Well,
you
first,
just get us-
first,
Planning and-
first,
Can you just get as close to the microphones as possible?
Oh, no, I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
ask my lawyer to talk.
Well, what we would do is we would have this amended zone change, and then we tried to stay away from the zoning board of appeals. We can't be more than 3 feet away.
right, which you maintained,
So
Yes, we do maintain.
There's this 90-foot
90%.
percentage of the road requirement, which I really don't understand why it has any relevance. It makes sense on Job's Lane,
Yeah.
it makes sense on Main Street, but we'll go there and we'll make a presentation
Yeah.
to them for that. I candidly, and I don't know how it could be anything other than welcome, because we have a unique piece of property. We're trying as best as we can. And what this allows us to do then is increase the number by utilizing the existing building, double the number of workforce housing. So we have to go there. Then we have to go to the Architectural Review Board, which I'm quite optimistic about because John's architecture has always been, for obvious reasons, welcomed by the ARB. But we do need a planning board. I'm sorry. As the first step, we need you to schedule a
The trustees and then go to, I think, the zoning board and then planning and ARB, yeah.
But I think we have a wonderful plan, and I would hope that there would be nothing other than welcomed with open arms by the zoning board of appeals and the ARB, and then of course the planning board has to weigh in. But we've tried to front load this with answering as many questions, concerns as. Look down the road. John and I have worked together probably too many years, 35 years, and we look down the road and try to anticipate any sort of concerns. So we don't see anything other than smooth sailing in the ARB, the zoning board of appeals, and the planning board.
He wants you on the microphone, John.
We don't see anything other than smooth sailing there. If they're applying the law fairly and looking at this unique property
Yeah.
and this unique opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I've done a lot of work both in the private sector and as a counsel for workforce housing. I have a client that's doing almost 80 units in Queog, and as a member of the Southampton Business Alliance, we did some affordable housing, workforce housing, I should say. It's a really good opportunity. The case law says that the board and the municipalities are supposed to look at this.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to say to anybody that, hey, that you're doing something solid about it.
Right, and it's within walking distance of the
Could you
the
just
central business
could you
district.
talk a little bit about the enforcement of the workforce housing and
Certainly.
how that would work
Certainly.
and what you envision?
Either rentals, well, these will be rentals, but they're all the rents that you can charge are governed by regulation and statute, and there are covenants that are filed that are enforceable either on workforce rentals or workforce sales. The sales, of course, they limit the purchase price and have some recapture provisions. On the rentals, they have an amount based upon the size of the unit that you can charge. It amounts to, for old timers, it sort of amounts to a rent control.
Which I remember.
Yeah, me too.
Emergency Rent Control Act of 1949. Emergency Rent Control Act of 1949. But yeah, it's very common, and it's done by covenant that runs with the land.
So I have a question, John, Rose. What is the size of the 8 units then in the building there?
They're each about 600 to 700 square feet in size. Between the two buildings, E and F, it's almost about 10,000 square feet. So I think building F is closer to 8,000 between 2 floors.
Okay. And so these are planned to be 1 bedrooms, studios?
1 bedrooms.
1 bedrooms.
Yes.
And we haven't gotten to quite that level as you start to do layouts and allow for corridors and egress and all that.
Yeah.
So some of that square.
Well, sure.
Yes.
But we're comfortable that we can get 20% in that unit.
So
I missed the
currently there are 8 commercial units there. So we are going to try and utilize the existing layouts of those units for them. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. I think we'll take this back and we'll look to scheduling a meeting. Here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we'll move on to suggested resolutions, and I think Len, you want to take the
Yes,
first one on the warrant?
resolution number 1, resolve the claims for the warrant dated June 25th, 2024, totaling $159,901.28, warrant number A1 General Fund, $569,309.78, warrant number H1 Capital Fund, $76,376.06, warrant number A2 Payables, and $29,994.51, warrant number T1 Trust Fund, are audited and approved. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolve the reading of the minutes for the February 2024 Board of Trustee meetings are dispensed, accepted as filed by the village clerk, and the actions taken at those meetings are hereby ratified and approved. So moved. Second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 3, whereas the Village of Southampton is seeking to improve wireless communications infrastructure and services in the village to improve communications for first responders and residents of the village, and whereas to that end, the village authorized Resolution 2023-1981 and presented a request for proposals for wireless communications site development and management, and whereas by the March 29, 2024 deadline, the village received 4 proposals in response, and whereas on April 11, 2024, the Village Board of Trustees appointed a committee to review the proposals for wireless communications site development and management, and whereas the committee, consisting of Anthony Carter, Alex Wallach, Christian Pico, Richard Fowler, and Michelle Brogard, reviewed the 4 proposals submitted to the village regarding the wireless communications and site development for the Village of Southampton, and whereas after full consideration given to each of the proposals, the RFP committee recommended awarding the bid, which includes an upfront capital contribution and monthly revenue for the village, to Diamond Communications. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees awards the bid to Diamond Communications to design, construct, operate, and maintain wireless communication facilities on village-owned sites, including antenna towers or poles and foundations, utility lines, transmission lines, air-conditioned equipment shelters, electronic equipment, transmitting and receiving antennas, standby power generators, and generator pads and supporting equipment and structures to ensure comprehensive wireless communication coverage throughout the village, to improve communications for first responders and the public in accordance with the bid. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to execute a contract and/or lease with Diamond Communications, as well as any other documents necessary to complete this project, subject to the approval of the village attorney. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, whereas the Village of Southampton Board of Trustees previously appointed a committee to review the proposals for wireless communications, site development, and management, and whereas that committee completed its mission and in the process obtained additional significant specialized knowledge regarding wireless communications site development, and whereas for continuity purposes, the Board of Trustees believes it is important to have some of the committee members continue to work on this project for the village, now therefore be it resolved that Christian Pico, Richard Fowler, Michelle Brogard, and Trustee Lenzananti shall constitute the Wireless Communications Site Development and Management Project Committee, and be it further resolved that the village administrator shall serve as the project manager for the village. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton has determined that this proposed local law is considered a Type 2 action under 6 New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 617.5 of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that no further review under New York Environmental Conservation Law Article 8 is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on July 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Village Meeting Room at the Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 77 of the Village Code, Noise, to restrict amplified sound after 11 p.m. until 9 a.m. and provide a limited exception for certain special events. That would be the local law. It's simply banning amplified music in non-commercial venues from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Okay, I will make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I think
The
some
next-
people were under the impression that this law was in existence. And I found that it was many years ago. So we're just making sure and making it clear to the public that it's 11 o'clock now, so,
Right.
okay.
All right, the next number 6 is whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton has determined that this proposed local law is considered a Type 2 action under 6 New York Code of Rules and Regulations, Part 617 of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that no further review under New York Environmental Conservation Law Article 8 is necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on July 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Village Meeting Room in the Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending Article 3 of the Village Code, Village Administrator, to clarify the powers and duties under 3-12. That local law, the way it's written, it's simply to clarify it. There seemed to be some confusion about whether or not there was a requirement that the village administrator prepare the tentative budget every year, when in fact the way you could read the law was, or should have been reading the law, was consistent with New York State village law. The village administrator would take on that responsibility if so designated by the mayor. So this just clarifies it.
Yeah, shouldn't it be done by the budget officer?
It's generally done by the budget officer, and you would appoint somebody
The
to
mayor
do it under
appoints
village law. Right.
Someone to be the budget officer
Right.
in the village. Okay. I will make the motion for this.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. And last, number 7, be it hereby resolved that the village board hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on July 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Village Meeting Room at the Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed local law entitled A Local Law Amending Chapter 116-24 of the Village Code, Board of Appeals, Organization and General Procedure, to amend the process for issuing ZBA decisions. Okay, so that the way the law is proposed, the ZBA would have the ability to draft short form orders. And then it would give we wrote the law so that anybody who had standing, an applicant, an objector, could ask for a formal decision within 30 days. And then they would be entitled to that decision. And then that would start the clock for any challenge to whatever decision the board made. It would limit the number of long written decisions that the attorney for the ZBA would have to write, especially on applications where there's likely to be no challenge to the decision.
Right, so this
So-
would allow short decisions unless
Unless-
requested by one
Unless
of the
somebody
parties.
requested the long form
Okay,
decision.
I will
right?
make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the request received by the village clerk for the Village of Southampton to host the 2024 inauguration ceremony to be held on Monday, July 1st, 2024 at 12 p.m. And our organizational meeting will be held, actually, it cannot be held on the same day because newly elected trustee Simeone is not available. He could not be available, so it will be moved to July 9th, which is a Tuesday at 6 p.m. And at that time, again, Trustee Simeone will be sworn in and we will have the organizational meeting so as not to interfere with the regular meeting that's scheduled for Thursday of that week, the 11th of July. So I will make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolve the Board of Trustees approves the budget salary increase for Erin King, Treasury Management Supervisor, Payroll Supervisor, to $91,000 effective June 28, 2024. So moved. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolve the Board of Trustees approves Zane Maddock as a probationary member to the Southampton Village Fire Department, Hook and Ladder Company, effective May 7th, 2024. So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Whereas the population of deer has dramatically increased throughout the village of Southampton and has created health and safety concerns for residents, and whereas the village of Southampton previously contracted with Suffolk County Deer Management to develop and implement a deer management plan for the village, and whereas Suffolk County Deer Management has successfully completed its original 2023 contract with the village, developed a deer management plan for the village, and demonstrated success in culling the village deer population by 100 deer. And whereas deer management for population control requires continued maintenance for long-term success, and whereas the Board of Trustees believes that renewing our agreement with Suffolk County Deer Management is in the best interest of the village, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract renewal and extension with Suffolk County Deer Management for the years 2024, 2025, and 2025-2026 to continue its deer management plan for the village in the amount not to exceed $25,000 per year to be paid from trustee special projects. So moved.
Second, discussion. There will be additional work on the plan undertaken by Suffolk County Deer Management in coordination with the Department of Environmental Conservation, New York DEC, to ask for some additional assistance in helping us to control the deer population in the village of Southampton. So that explains why there's an additional increase above what was paid last year for this. There will be increased work on the part of Suffolk County Deer Management to coordinate with DEC.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Whereas the Board of Trustees approved and deemed the following vehicles as surplus: 2010 Chevrolet Tahoe, VIN 1GN UKAE 02AR 1507726, 2005 Ford Escape, VIN 1FMYU 93145 KD 38993. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the two vehicles to be sold on the online auction at the recommendation of Steve Phillips Jr., DPW Superintendent, and Mark Moddick, Central Guard Superintendent. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the vehicles to be deemed surplus and sold at the online auction at the recommendation of Steve Phillips Jr., DPW Superintendent, and Mark Moddick, Central Garage Superintendent. Highway Department vehicle, a 2017 Johnston Street Sweeper, VIN 1FVA CXDT 8HHHW 2389. So moved.
Second, discussion. I see that Mr. Phillips is in the audience. I wanted to ask, Steve, this vehicle doesn't seem to be that old, the sweeper, but I just wanted to understand now why it's surplus. Thank you for coming to the podium.
It's being surplus because to replace it would cost us about $150,000, and a new vehicle is $220. So Mark requested that we just surplus it.
But what is the condition of this?
It's bad.
It's deteriorated to the
The
point
truck
that,
itself, we could probably get $40,000-$50,000 for
well, that's something. Yeah.
at auction.
All right.
I'm going to take no less than that, so we have the right to say yes or no.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I guess sweepers don't last that long, huh?
No, we will come across that path later on.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Number 14?
Wait.
Wait.
All,
I'm
all
sorry.
in favor?
Aye.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Resolved, number 14, resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the village attorney and the village assessor to enter into a stipulation to settle an Article 7 tax lien litigation between the village and Deerfield Hamptons LLC related to property located at 97 North Sea Road, Southampton, New York, and further identified on the Suffolk County tax map as 0904, Section 005, Block 1, Lot 14.010. Said settlement reduces the annual assessed value by the amount of $16,212 for each of the tax years 2015-16 through 2018-19. Reduces it by $19,212 for the tax years 2019-20 and 2020-21, and $21,212 for the tax years 2021-22 and 2022-23, at a total cost to the village of $28,737.75, as identified in a proposed stipulation negotiated between the village assessor and Cronin Law Firm, PLLC, attorneys for Deerfield Hamptons, LLP.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolve the mayor of the village of Southampton, subject to approval as to form by the village attorney, is authorized to enter into an agreement at a cost not to exceed $56,300 with LKMA Engineering and Surveying for the preparation of a request for proposals for Boyson Road culvert replacement to be paid from Capital Water Reserve. So moved.
Second discussion. This culvert has been failing for the last few years now, and really was in very bad shape last December when we had those high tides and floods. So it is really necessary at this point that the village do something about this failed culvert across Taylor Creek. And so this is quite an extensive amount of work that needs to be done, reconstructing the culvert as well as shoring up the wetlands in that area. So that is why LKMA was brought in with their expertise and why it's quite expensive. We're hoping that we'll be able to go for a grant once this is completed. These engineering plans are created, and then we will be able to go and get a grant for the actual work to be done, because this is a significant piece of infrastructure that needs to be shored up and really replaced. And it will help the water quality in Taylor Creek there, because right now the failed culvert is preventing the free flow of water, which is detrimental to the environment at that point. And so this really is something that's necessary and something that probably should have been done a couple of years ago, but we're getting around to it now. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Number 16, resolved, the Board of Trustees accepts the donation from the Diabetes Research Institute in the amount of $1,000 to be used towards the fire department's operating budget. And be it further resolved, the budget is hereby amended to reflect the donation as follows. Increase A.2703 gifts and donations in the amount of $1,000. Increase A.3410.2 fire department equipment in the amount of $1,000.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the donation from Mr. and Mrs. David B. Adams in the amount of $50 to be used where it's needed most, and whereas the Board of Trustees feels these funds will best help support the World War I Memorial Fund. The Board appreciates the generosity of Mr. and Mrs. Adams. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the Southampton Village Fire Department to host their annual softball game at Downs Family Park on Saturday, July 6, 2024, at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Be it so moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approve the beach event application for the Bathing Corporation of Southampton at 14 Gin Lane on Saturday, July 27th, 2024, at 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. for 400 guests and is amended as follows. Resolved, the amended date of the event is July 20th, 2024, at 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the beach event application for Brian Dunning Jr. of 36 Elm Street to host an event at Halsey Neck Beach on Saturday, July 27, 2024, at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. For 200 guests, parking and exemption letters will be provided and must be prominently displayed on the vehicles during the event. Be it so moved.
Second, but question. I thought the original request here was for Gin Beach. I did not think it was Halsey Neck Beach because I'm a little concerned about
Okay, it's
200
in
vehicles trying to be parked at Halsey Neck Beach. The parking lot is not capable of handling that type of.
They changed it from Jim Beach to Halsey Neck.
All right, I have to say then we have to table this because there's no way you can have 200. That would be at least 100 cars, and that parking lot is not capable of handling that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to table this and talk to Mr. Donahue further about this.
Okay.
Is everyone in
Make a
agreement
motion.
with that? I'll make a motion to table
Second
this.
to table.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we will go now to comments from board members.
Actually, we have a supplement.
Oh, sorry.
Sir, I
I
have
always mess up.
two action items. We have a supplemental agenda, and I also have the election voting.
Okay,
tally.
why don't you do the election voting first, please?
Okay, we had a total of 971 persons voted. The election was held on Friday, June 21st of 2024, and the results are as follows. Ed Simeone, 515 votes. Leonard Zinanti, 508 votes. 507 plus one write-in. Gina Aresta, 480 votes. Josh Belluri, 389 votes. Justice Linda Riley, 512 votes.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. And I will ask for a motion now to have three walk-on resolutions. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, supplemental agenda, item number 1. Resolved that the mayor and the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the resignation of Mark Greenwald from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective June 30th, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 2, resolved that the mayor appoints the Board of Trustees, the mayor and the Board of Trustees approves Luke Ferrin as chairperson for the Zoning Board of Appeals effective July 1st, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 3, resolved that Charlene Cagle-Betts shall be paid at the rate of $175 per hour for her time in connection with any testimony required by and in connection with her former employment by the village.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry that I forgot we had the walk-ons. All right, so now we will go to comments from board members, and we will start with Deputy Mayor Aresta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, I would like to thank the residents of Southampton Village for the privilege of serving this community for the past 4 years. Serving on this board, we have developed a management style that focused on the good of the community, that was strengthened by our unity as a board, and it became unity with purpose. I am proud of our accomplishments. Today, as a result of our work together, Southampton is stronger financially, managerially, environmentally, and structurally. Our green energy initiatives are moving forward. We are taking appropriate care of our historic structures. Quality of life issues are being addressed, and there is restored harmony among our management and employees. We appointed a new police chief, a new superintendent of public works, and became a Tree City USA. We have restructured our Department of Public Works to operate more efficiently and have restored communication between Village Hall and our businesses, all working together to keep our downtown area alive and well. This progress is the direct result of a newfound unity in Village Hall. Our departments now work harmoniously with a shared vision to improve our community's quality of life. It has been an honor for me to be part of this important work, serving a community I love. I trust the next board will bring to fruition the initiatives that we have initiated. Our work with Johnson Controls, updating the infrastructure, bringing solar power into our buildings, constructing more biospheres to protect our water bodies, and the completion of the World War I Monument Project. Working with Chief Herto, DPW Superintendent Steve Phillips, Administrators Charlene Cagle Betts and Anthony Carter, our Treasurer Julie, Payroll Supervisor Erin, Building Inspector Chris Talbert, our Tax Receiver Danielle Burns, our Clerk Kathy Sweeney, our Attorney Eileen Powers, Mayoral Assistant Karen Bontempo. Has been an honor. It has been a privilege to get to know you and work with these professionals and the wonderful staff in Village Hall, our Department of Public Works, and all departments and volunteers who enthusiastically strive for the betterment of our community. So I leave my service tonight with my best wishes to our mayor, to all our trustees, for continued success in moving our community forward. And to the village residents again, thank you for your support and appreciation over the past 4 years.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Resta. We'll go now to Trustee Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say and salute Deputy Mayor, and I'm sure my board will echo the same words, and commend you for your work that you have done for the village, and know that your work will be a legacy and live on, and we thank you for it.
Thank you, Trustee Brown.
Summer is here, and I'm proud to say that we're geared up at the beach. Thank you so very much to all that are at Southampton, Cooper's Beach. We like to think of it as the #1 beach in the continent. Dr. Beach says it's #2, but we all know the truth about that. We are ready for expanding our team of fleets. It's up and running. Our jet skis, our drones will be going. Our Gator is there, and we have a group of professionals that we're also very proud of. I want to commend the chief, Sue Hertow. I'd like to commend all of our chiefs, the ambulance, the firemen. It was quite a challenging weekend with that event of, I would say, maybe over 10,000 people, Chief. I want to commend you for working so diligently and well with the other agencies that came to your support, the 2 SWAT teams, the town, the troopers. It is an example of your professionalism. And we are so proud and fortunate to have you as our chief of police. I salute you. To everyone, enjoy the summer. I'm sure we all had a lovely Juneteenth celebration, and thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Trustee Stevenson could not be with us tonight, so I will go now to Trustee Zananti.
Thank you, Mayor. Gina Aresta, my running mate and my partner. I saw firsthand on the Budget and Finance Committee and now as a village trustee how you meticulously handle your work. Your dedication, your resolve, and sincere efforts are truly inspiring. You are an extraordinary resource to our entire village team, trustees, and employees. I want to thank you for being a complete team player. From gas leaf blowers to planting trees, from environmental initiatives to managing budgets, you have excelled for this village. No one works harder than you. I will miss sitting next to you. However, I know our friendship is deep and will endure. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zananti. So I just have a couple of things I want to mention. I did attend 2 Juneteenth celebrations in the village. The first was at the Southampton African American Museum, which had a wonderful music ensemble. performing there, and really enjoyed a beautiful sunny day there. We've had beautiful weather recently. I also attended the ceremonies in Agawam Park last weekend, which were also very well done. And we had some great vendors out there selling different things, which really was a nice outpouring of support. I also wanted to let everyone know that I last week hosted the East End Mayors Association, which is a new group that was just formed. I was elected the vice chairman. We hosted them at the Hampton Road Firehouse, and it really was excellent to have many mayors from the East End share issues that they are faced with, because, again, sharing that information, it's been very helpful. I did share with them the letter that I sent to OSHA in opposition to their new regulations that will detrimentally affect our volunteer fire departments and our volunteer ambulance and also our ocean rescue volunteers. So I did share that letter with them and asked them to all please send letters as well to OSHA objecting to these implementing these new rules and regulations. I also want to thank the deputy mayor for everything that she has done, and we're going to present her with a small proclamation, but it's about the best we can do at this
I thought I
point.
knew everything that was going on here.
But certainly, I've enjoyed having you as my deputy for this year. And I will read the proclamation. Whereas the Village of Southampton wishes to recognize Trustee Gina Resta for her steadfast and tireless service to our community, and whereas Gina first served the village as a member of the newly formed Budget and Finance Committee in 2019, and whereas Gina went on to be elected for 2 terms as a village trustee and appointed deputy mayor, and whereas Gina served as liaison to the multifaceted Department of Public Works, which includes the Parks Department, the Highway Department, Central Garage, and the Buildings Department, spearheading the leaf blower legislation, overseeing the drainage and repaving projects. She was at the helm in the formation of the Tree Committee, enabling the village recognition as a Tree City USA, leading us to our very first Arbor Day celebration in 2021. And whereas Gina has been committed to sustainable green energy initiatives during her tenure, which include the installation of electric charging stations throughout the village, and working with Johnson Controls Engineering, focusing on energy solutions and carbon reduction strategies to help our environment and reduce the future utility costs of our village. And whereas Gina also served as the liaison to the Budget and Finance Committee and was involved in introducing zero-based budgeting, Moody's AAA bond rating, and creator of the Tax Stabilization and Contingency Reserve. And now therefore be it resolved that I, William M. Manger Jr., Mayor of the Village of Southampton, New York, do hereby proudly present this proclamation to Trustee Gina Resta to offer her our sincere thanks for her leadership, diligence, and dedication to serving our village and our residents.
Thank you, Mr. Head.
And with that, we're now going to adjourn for executive session to discuss legal and contractual matters. Thank you all very much. Okay, the time is 7:19. The board is coming out of executive session where no action was taken. At this time, I'm making a motion to close this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.